In a recent interview with The Metro, the game director for Marvel Rivals gave us some insight as to exactly what the future is going to look like. And personally, I think that he may be promising way more than the studio can actually deliver, especially in a sustained, consistent way. But I'll get into all that. Before I do, I want to give a massive shout out to the channel members. If you want in on these shout outs and even some custom emotes for the live streams, then consider joining today. Also, as always, I will have links to my sources down in the comments. Be sure to go and give these people a follow. But today we are looking at Marvel Rivals Leaks, who posted a link to an article that's talking about this interview here. And starting off, the game director confirms that each season is going to be 3 months long and is going to contain new seasonal stories, new maps, as well as new heroes. 2 new heroes to be exact, every 3 months. And this is where I think he's biting off way more than the studio can chew. But before I get into why exactly I feel that way, I want to break down the schedule that they are planning when it comes to releasing these new heroes. Because instead of 2 new heroes at the start of each season, they're going to be dropping 1 at the start of each season, and then another at the midway point of each season, and then another one at the start of the next season, meaning that we can expect to see a new hero in Marvel Rivals every month and a half, which is just absolutely insane and is something that they will definitely be able to manage for a while, but eventually this is going to catch up to them. This is 8 heroes per year, which may not sound like much, but in the long term, I think they are going to run into the same problems that Apex Legends ran into. And in Apex, they were only dropping 1 new legend per season. Eventually, Apex ended up canning the whole 1 new legend per season idea because they were having so many problems with balancing and concepts and all sorts of stuff. But specifically when it comes to Marvel Rivals, 1 hero every month and a half is a lot of constant work for the entire team. From concepts to animations to logistics, it's a lot to expect a new hero that often, and I can picture this causing several problems for the developers long term, the biggest of which being balancing. These new heroes have to be good enough for players to be interested in playing them, because if they're not, then it's going to have a terrible pick rate, which would be the opposite effect that the devs want when they're making a new character. This happened in Apex all the time. A new legend always came out a bit broken so that people would play them. Then it would get nerfed into the dirt. It was a constant cycle of balancing that is caused mostly because the insistence on dropping new heroes all the time. This does lead to another problem that will eventually pop up, and that is the fact that the more characters we have, the more of the roster is considered dead content. Now, don't get me wrong here. I'm all for pumping new characters into Marvel Rivals, and they have plenty of IPs to pick from. I'm just simply pointing out that this constant flow of new heroes will eventually cause problems, and I would expect that eventually they will have seasons come out down the line with 0 heroes released. 2 heroes every 3 months is most definitely going to eventually cause us as players to run into heroes that are redundant or at the very least incredibly similar, which would cause the question, why did we even make this new character in the first place? Green Arrow and Hawkeye, for example. Sure, you can end up making those 2 different enough for them to both be in the game, but what about in 6 seasons when they need to find a new character, so they end up coming up with Shaft, another bow user. So now we have 3 bow boys in the game. I mean, like I said, I have no problem with them filling out this roster here, but I would definitely rather that they take their time and really nail down the feel of each character rather than being in a constant state of fluster wondering what hero do we have for the next month. If they took their time with it, we could most definitely have 3 bow boys with 3 kits that are different enough to justify picking one over the other. It's also very possible that they are 18 characters ahead of us and they have all of next year's characters far enough along in development that they feel ahead of development enough to where they can keep up this 1 character per month and a half schedule. That is very possible. Marvel has the IPs to make it happen. It's just I'm questioning whether or not a month and a half ends up leading to them not getting enough development time with each individual hero. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about all this, but that's really all I wanted to break down today. I hope you guys all have an amazing day. I'm out.